So I'm talking about it the way I experienced it.
Yeah.
So, and then her dad had already told me, and then we met up. We still went to go because my mom and Avi left first because they were the closest to get over there. So they got there, they left like right as soon as they found out, they took off. And then I left like an hour or two later with my dad. And I remember I was just driving there. My dad was driving. And in my head, I was just like, but how? Like how? Like in my head, you're just like, how? Like, why didn't I see it? Like, you're just like perdida. Like, you don't even know what to think, you know? And that's when I got on social media and I started seeing everything. And you know, everybody started talking to each other. Like, and I remember we were driving and we were almost there, and my dad's like, pero ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué hizo eso Silvia? Like, ¿por qué? And he would tell me like, y ustedes no sabían, like, ¿por qué? And I'm like I'm as surprised as you are. Like, I didn't know. Like,
because like, you guys were pretty close.
Yeah, we were super close with Sylvia. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And at that point, a lot of family had already got there. And I remember getting there. And I don't know why. If you felt like, you know, when you're going to meet somebody new, like, you don't know. Like, you feel all like, that's how, like, I didn't know what I was walking into, you know? And I walked in and everything was kind of dark. And I remember we went to like where my tia was, and she was just crying, and I just hugged her, and I didn't know what to say. Like, I feel like as much as she's going through her thing, like her emotions, you are too. Like, you don't know what to tell them. Like, I'm not a mom, and when I see sad things about like their kids or that the kid is sick or se murió, like, I get emotional. I could only imagine a mom, you know, like,
yeah.
Como ese dicho, like, cuando se te muere un padre, you're like parentless or whatever. When your husband dies, like, you're viuda. But when a kid dies, like, there's not a word for it, you know? And I didn't know, like, so all I did was hug her, and I remember her crying, and she's like, mi chivis, like, and I'm like, I don't know, like, I didn't know what to say, you know? And then after that, I think we stayed there that weekend, no? And then we came back home because, like always, they don't give it to you till like 2 weeks. And yeah, and then it came to that day, and I don't know. It's so like, you don't know, like, you don't even know how to react. You don't know, and when you actually see her, like, they don't even look like the person, you know? But I don't know, it's so crazy.
But you still live with the not necessarily side effects, but you still live with the trauma a un cierto punto from that happened, or do you see more like
more not having her here, like not being here, you know,
like you miss her,
like to experience like what, like I feel like now that she would have been of age or like almost of age, she could have had like her first drink with me, like we could have gone out, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'd have tried other things. Like, and I can't. So I think it's more that.
Okay.
Than
what life could have been.
Then what happened or that moment there. It's just more like that, you know? Like thinking of what we would have done now.
The memory.
So. And then the funeral was a whole other thing. Like, it's like a celebration, but at the same time, it's like you're grieving, you know? And I feel like I did cry. And they say like a lot of the people that cry most at funerals is because they feel guilty that they didn't take advantage. And it's a lot of people crying. and I remember seeing some of her friends there, and there were friends that did her kind of bad sometimes, and I was just like literally like, and I mean, I get it. You're here now, you know, like, but it had to take you this long to come talk to her, you know, or come see her.
Like come to terms with things.
And it was so much. I remember she would tell me so much, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like when you're at that age and you're going through your own things, and then they're trying to tell you, you're like, si tú sola ni te puedes ayudar, like, how am I gonna help her, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we were there for her for a lot of other moments, you know, like a lot of moments that she went through. So, but
what's your best memory with Sylvia? With Chibi.
With Chibi, Sylvia. Whenever she would come visit, because when we moved to New Mexico, she would come because her dad was living out here, and we would stay up so late doing our makeup in the bathroom and just talking crap. And she would do my makeup, and she was so good at doing makeup. I feel like if she was still here, she would have been like doing her thing.
She'd be a baddie.
Yeah. And I remember for the funeral, her whole school went, like even her principal, and even they were like, we were just talking about what college she was gonna go to because she was doing so good, and she was so smart since she was little. So yeah, but that, like, we were always just doing our makeup, or when she would FaceTime me because she did something crazy and my tia was so mad at her. And I'd just be like, oh, you only live, like, just do it. Like, who cares? You only live once. Do it. It's air. It's going to grow back. Like, and I feel with, like, what happened, it's helped me learn to not be so, like, I would not want to be like that, you know, like,
with your kids.
With my kids. If he wanted to cut his hair or something, or at a certain age, you know, and she was old enough, which I was like, it's okay, just do it, you know, but...
Mejor pedir perdón que permiso.
Literally. Which is not good, but yes.
You're like, Tia Carla, what? I just...
But I mean, I don't know. We had good memories. Same. Yeah. It was fun. She was the only one when she was younger. And then I remember she would always stay with us, or we were always taking care of her. She would sleep over, or... Literally, she was growing up with us like we were her only sisters. She had all her other primas, but literally we were like the closest to her. And yeah, but it was fun when we had fun. So, and she loved her cat Rose. Yeah. She loved animals and pets. And I remember one time she got so mad at me when we were traveling. Because no se cruzan the little bunnies or like stuff like that. I remember I hit one, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, she went off on me, and I'm like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, it's either we drive off the road and save the bunny and we die, or
and she's like, we die.
She's like, "Well, be careful," and I'm like, "It's so dark, I don't see when they're crossing. Like, what do you want me to do?" But I feel like in those moments, if you don't have God, or if you don't believe in like a higher power, I guess, I don't know how you'll make it through, because I feel like, I know right now I'm all like everywhere, but I feel like if I didn't have God in my life, I would have not, I don't know if I could have been able to handle it. You know what I mean?
The pain.
Yeah. So, and I remember even after that, like when she died, I would drive to work. You know how I was an hour away? Because you don't want to cry in front of everybody. You don't want to, you know, like I would cry on my way to work, or when I was leaving work, I would cry, like, because I was still missing her, and I would like let it out. Yeah. Because you're trying to be strong for others, and it's like, so I would just cry like in the car, and I'm like, like just crying all the way home. But now it's better. It's gotten better. I feel like people are like, oh, you'll get over it like once years pass. I'm like, you never get over it. Like you are gonna miss that person your whole life. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
And then there's things that remind you of them.
Yeah, like little
or like
things.
When you see people that remind you of them, or like Neida.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like, oh my God, you know, like little things that you, or like I remember sometimes I know too, I think when we've gone to, you're like, oh my God, Chivis would have loved all this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy, you know, that even at the back of your head, you still think of her. And we might not be like llorando y chillando like in front of people, but we still go through our own grieving. Yeah. Like in our own way, you know?
Yeah. And shout out to Jesus de Nazaret for letting us have the memorial and funeral. They've always had her back. But it was packed. Do you remember the service?
I didn't go. Remember, I stayed back to work. Oh, that's another regret of mine. So that I should have just came, you know, and tough shit. The mall.
But we were so new into the business too.
Yeah, but Cesar came.
Yeah, you came the first time.
I came the first time because we so happened to be around. Pero para que se quedaran las tiendas abiertas, I had to go and stay over there. And Cesar's like, no voy. And I was like, no, dude, you're gonna go. Like, you know, like you're gonna go. And I remember it's so crazy how everybody got together to a certain extent and figured it out. Because funerals are expensive.
They are.
Expensive. And especially when you're not of a child. Because she was a child still, technically. Even though she was a teenager. But, you know, you're not expecting that. And it's a big burden. And luckily, a lot of people
because my tia and my mom had gone to that church since they were little. Like, little muchachas. So, a lot of the older members knew them since they were little, you know? So, and they remember Sylvia. Yeah. So I feel like Sylvia's memory, what it reminded us, or like the positive outcome of it, which, because it's never positive, but it's a positive outcome in a way that it opened your view to that side, to like mental health, to depression, to
that it is real,
suicide. Like, it happens, it's real. Like how I was saying earlier, you think, oh, va a regresar. Oh, nomás se fue para allá. Like, no, like, check on your kids. Like, check on your family members. Like, the happiest ones sometimes are the saddest ones. Like, there's so many things to it. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's why I'm like, I can't blame myself. Like, as much as I want to be like, I could have done this, I could have fixed this, or I could have seen her post and like, now I say, if I would have seen that, I would have taken off over there. I would have been like, hey guys, like,
hey, something's happening.
Especially because of the other stuff. I would have been like, hey, like, somebody needs to go check on her. Like, we need to go over there. But at that moment, you can't.
But at the same time, the background in their life wasn't very, like, talked about. No. It was like, get it together.
Yeah, like, how you're just being crazy. I remember they would always say, like, you're being crazy. Yeah. Stop being crazy. I'm like, dude, that's like a person screaming at you. Like, I need help.
Yes.
So.
And there's a list of things.
Yeah, there
that
is.
we found a couple lists of things that you should not tell somebody that is going through depression, or that has come to you with suicidal thoughts, or with, you know, whatever, self-harm. Doesn't just have to be suicide. It could be of hurting themselves, hurting others. Yeah. And we have a little list here. And if any of you guys are going through it, there's a number. What was the number?
488
988.
988. It's a hotline.
It's a hotline for suicide prevention. And here are a couple things you guys should not tell somebody that's going through any type of mental issue is get over it. Yeah. Snap out of it. And if any of you guys have gone through certain things, maybe you guys can see the signs in other people and maybe go to them before it's too late. Like, don't wait for them to come to you. Yeah. You open up the conversation, be like, oh, hey, you know, how are you? You know, and you could even talk about your own struggles. Exactly. So that they feel like
that's what helps somebody.
That they're not like the weird one. Yeah. Even though none of us are weird about it. But I feel like when it's not talked about, you feel like the black sheep.
Yeah, yeah. Or like the weird one that's only going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the other one is
Stop whining.
Yeah.
Stop whining.
Like, don't say that. Like, you don't say stuff like that.
Yeah. Or, oh, my son goes through the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like, well, you should be talking to him, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then you don't seem unwell. Like, oh, you look like you have it all
You're
together.
fine.
What do you
don't
mean?
seem well. Yeah.
And I think it's something that, especially with older generations, isn't very talked about. Because I remember recently we went to like a little church thing, de mujeres, and una hermana, well, she basically told her, she said to the group, you know, I want you to help me pray for my daughter. Her daughter was there. She's like, remember. You know, like, help me pray for her, you know, like, and it's good, you know, if you believe in God and if that's what you do, like, yes, pray about it, you know, but also actions.
Yeah.
Like, works. Don't just stay there and be like, porque el Señor no va ahí, just because, oh, you know, you asked for it, here you go.
Sí.
Like, do your part too. That's why there's therapists. That's what they say. There's medicine. That's why there's a lot of things.
Ora, pero también acciona.
Yes.
And not like, oh, God, deliver a car. Bam. And there's the car.
And the lady, she was like saying to pray for her daughter. Y una señora más viejita, she's like, ay, mija, pero tú tan bonita. Sí, I'm like, ma'am, just because you're pretty doesn't mean you're like the exception.
Yeah.
And
like, you're
yo
not
quería
depressed.
decir algo.
Yeah.
Because again, I've been through my own struggles.
Yeah.
Y dije, oh my God, I'm like, van a decir, esta es una peleonera. Y mejor me dejé callada. And I didn't tell her then, but I told her after, like when I saw her church, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm praying for you. Like, stay strong. Like, you know, we all go through our own struggles. But if you ever need anything, pero como I'm not close to them, I doubt she's going to come to me. But, you know, I put it out there.
Yes.
Like, if you ever need to talk about something, you know, let me know. And I think nowadays, too, people use social media as their journal. Yeah. And when you start to see, like, you know, when somebody's, like, in their streak of, like, happiness and when people are going through it, you know? Yeah. There's a couple of our friends. I think, not a couple, but I feel like there's a lot of people that do that. That they'll kind of post things. Y sí, a veces yo creo que hay gente que sí no realmente está, but it's better. Better be safe than sorry.
Yes, that's what I mean. Better be safe than sorry.
Be safe than sorry, because with this stuff you don't play, you know, y es algo que it affects more than you know.
I feel like you should validate somebody. Like, you should validate their feelings, because a lot of the times it's always like, oh, but you look fine, or like, oh, it's fine. And that's the worst thing you could do. It's like you're literally pushing them away to a darker space, you know? So.
And don't blame them for everything. Like, don't be like, oh, it's because you did this. Remember? That's why you're doing this. Because sometimes our depression is circumstantial, like of things that happened to us or things that we did, or that we hurt another person or somebody hurt us. And don't shame them. I think, especially like us with a Christian-based faith, we've learned, let me say that, I've learned more now to be graceful to people, to give grace. Like, you don't know how much those people need it. Imagínate todo el mundo. Imagine if I was to come and tell you what I'm going through, and then you're like, oh my God, you shouldn't be saying that. And then everywhere else in the world around me. You serve the Lord.
You shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Or like, no, eso no es de Dios, whatever.
Sí, it's not.
But imagine if the people in your inner circle can't even help you. You're asking for help. Yeah. And instead of you being that person to be like, you know what, like, we're going to get through this together. Like, let me help you, you know. We can't fix people. No. We can't fix them, but we can give them tools to try to fix the issue. If it's a circumstantial issue, if it's like a medication issue. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen. And I think grace falls in a lot. I think we tend to be more graceful when we've been on the other side of anything.
No, it's true.
Anything, because grace is very easy to give to it's very easy to give grace,
but not a lot of people do it.
But it's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard because imagine que alguien te hizo mal a ti. How are you gonna be like, oh.
It's hard because so you want to be, you're so le das that, and then when it's your turn to get it back, it's not easily given back.
It's not. And I feel like it's something that we can all learn if you have faith or not, you know, like it's something that you have as a person,
Yeah.
to be graceful to somebody else, that you can come in and be that light for them. Because como les digo, siento
like merciful también.
And merciful, yeah.
That's another word.
And, you know, and validate them, because sometimes
Exactly.
it is, you know, all we need to hear, like, yeah, you are going through a lot, you know, like, I understand, like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But don't be like, but get it together.
People have it worse than you.
People have it worse than you. You know, and it's just things that, you know, I'm pretty sure if we go and look in our lives now, we see a lot of things, maybe our parents, where they went through like depressive states, you know, or our brothers or sisters. Y no se queden callados, you know, like, that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. So all that crisis number, you could call it or text. Oh, cool. 988.
If you get anxiety, calling.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. So if you ever need help, you can dial that, or national helpline. It's also 1-800-662-HELP. So.
And I think it's also, I think in this culture now, we feel very alone. Mm-hmm. I feel like, yeah, it's not very, like, we're all doing our own thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, a lot of people don't have like a village behind them. They don't have like support system. Hay muchos que ya no les hablan a sus papás, a sus abuelitos, because of trauma, because of other things. Mm-hmm. And people are out here living life on their own, you know, doing life on their own. And God didn't create it like that. Yeah. Like, he created it for us to be like together, to be in communion. Yeah. Not I'm talking about all just be about Jesus, or like, oh my God, we're going to meet together and only talk about God. Yeah, like, no, like, we're there to, because in the Bible, it talks about like that you should come to me. Yeah. And, you know, talk to us and us pray together. And then that there is something that changes, but then at the same time, like, you feel like you're not alone. Yeah, yeah. And it could happen even if you're not religious. You can have a cup of coffee with somebody and talk to them. Yeah. Like, it's something, but I feel like when you are more like a Christian-based person, mm-hmm. you can look at things a little bit differently, because it gives you more grace. Exactly. And that's what God does.
But God did grace. That too, though, in the Bible. What? Se sentaba con los peores. Yeah. Les hablaba a los peores. Yeah. So, and sometimes we forget. But no, it's true what Noemi said. You don't know until you're on the other side. And I feel like a while back, I was like, anxiety, like, get over it. Casi like, me dices, Noemi, no, like, we all go through stuff. But then there's some people that, I don't know.
I feel like they abuse it.
Yeah, there's some that do abuse it. And I'm like.
And it's algo como le digo a Magaly. I'm like, yo nunca vuelvo a decir que estoy depressed. Yeah. Never. Mm-hmm. And I'm never going to say, oh my God, like, I have anxiety too. Like, as a fun thing. No. Like, it's algo que when you've really lived through it. Yeah. It's not fun and it's not cute. Because I remember, you know, like in high school or whatever, you're like, oh my God, I'm so depressed, you know.
This is so depressing.
Yeah. And I'm like, girl, you're so stupid. Like, Noemi, little me, I'm like, girl, cállate los hocico.
Until I saw it happen to somebody close to me, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, shoot. Like, an episode happening. Yeah. I was like, wow, like, I didn't think it was real, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
It's like, you don't think it's real until it like happens.
Yeah. Like, and I was like, wow, like. Mm-hmm. So God humbled me and was like, look.
But now you can see the signs of other people. Yeah, not for sure. Just of.
And I feel like sometimes I have my own, mm-hmm. which I feel like I always know how to handle it. I tell you. I know how to take myself out of it, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's real. Like, I feel like the older you get and the more you start realizing things and things that happen back mm-hmm. in your like childhood, and now that you're older and preparing to like start your own thing, your own mm-hmm. family, you're like, whoa, like, you're like, Jesus.
You see a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. But just know, guys, that there's help out there. There's resources. You
don't have to feel alone.
Yeah, you don't have to feel alone. But most importantly, make sure you make that feel person validated. It's better for you to acknowledge it and help them and send them the right way to like figure it out, then you'd be like, oh, get over it. And I get sometimes we're selfish, like, well, nobody helped me. Well, what did somebody did for me? Like, and it's like,
but you would have wanted somebody to go and dig you out, or at least help you,
or guide you somewhere, or let you know that you're there, you know. And it's hard to be like that, because you're like, y cuando yo estaba ahí, like, and I feel like you have to realize that, como tú dijiste, tú sola te tienes que sacar. Yeah, people around you could guide you to the right place, but
and when you're ready.
Yeah, and when you're ready.
Because sometimes I feel like we know the answers to our problems.
Yeah.
Because mine was circumstantial.
Yeah.
Like, we know the answer to them, pero
it's
the overthinking, the anxiety, it's just like a cycle que no te puedes sacar, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, don't feel like you're any less of a person because you go through it.
Yeah.
Like, think about it as something that you're going to be able to learn from that and hopefully help somebody else out. Que con la historia que tú tengas de lo que te ha pasado a ti can help somebody else be like, you know what?
It gets better.
It gets better and I can go get help.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think the best thing you could do, you know, is look at the future and see like qué tanto más hay de vivir, you know.
Sí.
Disfruten la vida. Even with problems, you know, like it's natural to not have a perfect life, not have this always consistently having,
or have like everything together.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's okay, and it's okay to be sad sometimes. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be, but you know, like, you need to get yourself out.
Yeah.
Don't stay there.
Yes. So we're here too.
Yeah, we're here if you guys have anything. Not that we're therapists of any kind.
No, we aren't.
But if you guys need like a friend group, or you guys want to go get coffee,
yes,
we're always
hiking.
down for that.
The weather's getting nice.
I know.
A la Gina.
I know, Gina. Let's go. But I think that would be cool. We could do like a little like
hiking day
to
those victory steps.
Oh my god.
When we did those steps, though, let me tell you, you get up there and you feel accomplished.
Feel why they're called victory steps.
Yeah. Like, you're dying, but you feel like, wow.
And then people were like yelling, and I was like, why are they yelling? Yeah. And then when I got up there, I'm like, because I did
ganas de gritar. Like, no, for reals. You like release everything, and
and that's super good for your mental health, moving your body, eating better affects it a lot, and getting some sunshine is very good. Going out even when you don't feel like going out, because all you want to do is sleep. Le dije a mi papá, quiero verlo allá afuera agarrando sole. Así, but he's like super white, my dad, so se va a poner todo rojo. I'm like, quiero que salga at least 10 minutes a day. And he's like, I'm like, it says that, you know, vitamin C, like the sol, you know, instead of being in your little dungeon room.
He's going to be like a Guido. He's going to be all the time.
Working out allá afuera.
No, but if you guys have resources, or you guys know of any other information or anything else that could help, comment down below or share the link. We're always open to having other info that you guys know about, you know? So don't ever be afraid to share it, because we like it. Like, it's good. It lets us
broaden our horizons.
Yes. But
this episode was in memory of Chivis.
Yeah.
We'll probably post some pictures.
Almost lost it, but
yeah. And I think because we don't talk about it too much, you know,
no,
it's like
reliving.
You deal it on your own, and it's hard.
Remembering is reliving it.
Yeah.
Which is some sad parts, some good parts, but yeah, it was in honor of her. I'm not saying to wait till it happens to anybody, you know, like to you, but it's just, let's be more aware to this situation and stop shaming so much, like mental health or depression or if you see signs, like it happens, it's real. So
what's out there.
So yeah, I hope this was a little educational for you guys. We aren't experts either. We're just sharing our sides and what we've been through and our stories. So hopefully it helps.
And we're not alone, guys. We're all here. But thank you guys for joining us. And we hope to see you guys on the next one.
Yes. Bye, guys.